All right, so if you've listened to anything I've put out in the past few months, you probably know that in the past 6 or 7 years, I've gotten back into comic books, like big time, hardcore. And something I've really been diving into in the past few years is Batman. And I'm taking, recommendations from other people of like, what are the best Batman stories? What do I need to read? And I'm going through and I'm reading them all. And one that I read just over this past year is Hush, Batman Hush. And I loved it. Loved it. There are quite a few stories that people recommended. There was like that. There was The Long Halloween. I read that. I read The Court of Owls. Just read Batman Damned. I'm currently going through The City of Owls. Anyway, all that to say that I am not a poser. I am actually a Batman fan outside of movies and TV series. So I didn't realize, though, until just a couple months ago that there was a Batman Hush animated film. I knew there was a Long Halloween. I've watched that. I knew that there was, The Killing Joke had been made into a film. I knew these things existed, but I did not know they had done the same thing with Hush. And when I found that out, I'm like on a mission. Like, I got to watch this thing. And I finally got a chance. Today, I was over at my in-laws' house my sister-in-law's house for Thanksgiving. And I don't know exactly what happened. Normally, we would be watching the Ohio State game. That's usually what's on, or, if not that, some sort of football is on, right? Anytime we get together at Aunt Ninny's house. But no game was available today, I guess. And so we're just surfing through TV. I think we watched National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, and then after that, everyone kind of like went and ate dinner. And I ate dinner, and I was sitting there, and no one else was really trying to watch anything. It just seemed like the TV was just idle. And I was like, let me check through HBO Max and see if I can find this Hush. And I found it. And I sat there, and I watched it, and I even got my brother-in-law ended up watching it, and he's not even into this type of stuff. But we ended up watching Batman Hush. And there are some subtle differences between the film and the comic book. And mainly it's just the characters they decided to use, and it didn't really affect the film very much. Like, instead of using Killer Croc, they use Bane, right? Another big foreboding character in one scene. And then later, I think they use Batgirl instead of someone else that they used in the comic book. And just like that. And I think they might have used a different... one of the other villains was swapped out. But otherwise, it was the exact same story. It played out in the exact same way. And I thought it was a fantastic interpretation. I thought it was really good. I know I spent half this time talking about how I ended up watching this and how I read Batman comics. But this is my review. So I enjoyed it very much. It makes me want to go back and read the book again. Like, that's how good it was. And like I said, I got someone watching it. It must have been pretty good, because I got someone watching it who has normally no interest in this. Literally, his wife stopped in the middle and she was like, "Oh, this is so cute. You're watching cartoons." And I was like, "Don't worry. It's just me watching cartoons." But yeah. So I guess I kind of took over the television for a little while and put my cartoons on during Thanksgiving dinner. But yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed this. I especially enjoyed... I love the DC animation. I love that it's a little more adult. It doesn't feel like a kid's cartoon. Like, there's a little bit of swearing. You had a female on female kiss in this thing. Like, this isn't... I wouldn't say that that's like not for kids or anything, but a little bit more adult than, say, like Batman the Animated Series or Superman the Animated Series. Definitely more than, like, the Marvel stuff from the 90s. Like, I've always loved what DC animation does. That's something that they really excel at. Even when they can, I'm not saying this is I'm not a DC film universe hater. I actually like the Nolan films. I like a good portion of the Snyderverse, actually. But they do miss the mark sometimes. But with animation, I feel like they're pretty much always on. Like, they do a damn good job at putting together animated films and animated series. Starting way back with, Batman the Animated Series, but with their version of The Dark Knight Returns, The Killing Joke, as I said, Under the Red Hood, just everything they've done. The Justice League films, Flashpoint, all fantastic. Like, they nail the animation. And I think it's kind of funny because I feel like Marvel films nowadays pretty much always do a pretty good job, but animation, not so much. So it's like DC dominates in the animation department, and Marvel's been doing a little better here lately, like with their What If series, and we'll see what else they do going forward. But when it came to like the cartoons that they've been putting out over the past 20 years or so, some are good, and some are not at all. But I feel like DC pretty much always makes quality animated films and TV series. So anyway, all that to say that I very much enjoyed Batman Hush. I'm looking into now going and finding these on DVD. I know, I'm like an old man trying to find stuff on DVD, and I still collect physical copies of trade paperbacks. Like, I'm not just all digital. Definitely kind of a hybrid type of person. I'm a little bit old school and a little bit new school because, I don't collect floppies so much anymore, but I will buy trade paperbacks. But I'm not ready to go all digital yet. Not saying I won't read digital. I read plenty of digital comics, but I like to own physical copies. I like to hold it in my hand. I like to have it on a shelf, Yeah. So anyway, Batman Hush, check it out. It's on HBO Max. HBO Max, which is something that I have not pulled the trigger on yet just because it's a little expensive for my taste. Like, I've already got Disney Plus, I've already got Netflix, I've already got, all the things, and then like $15 a month for HBO Max is, it's a little steep. But they do have all the DC jams, like all the DC films and animation that you could possibly want. They pretty much got everything on there. So, and all the new stuff, the live action stuff like Titans and Doom Patrol and stuff like that. So if you are a diehard DC person, like HBO Max is where it's at. And if I had the extra money to spend every month on it, I would most definitely have it, because that's just such a great, place to find everything you want DC. All right, that's it. Loved Hush. I think you'll love it too. If you enjoyed the comic book, you'll like it. Hey, if you've never read the comic book, I think you'll like Batman Hush. Just go find it on HBO Max. All right, if you enjoyed this video or podcast, please like the video if you're watching it, and favorite, follow, subscribe, whatever it is you do here, on YouTube, or if you're listening to the Daily BS podcast. If you like this video, it's kind of what I do. I do reviews, but I do a bunch of other stuff too. I talk about stories from my questionable youth. I talk about basically anything entertainment and pop culture. Sometimes I share my other podcasts here. So if you enjoy this sort of thing, you want to get something new and hopefully interesting to you in your feed every day, then please subscribe for more, favorite or follow the podcast. And if you do that, if you decide to stick around, then I'll talk to you again tomorrow. Thanks.